So I've thought about bringing this video series back for a while, and that is the retro review where I look back on old and classic episodes of Power Rangers from each season, or maybe a movie, or maybe a special, and I sort of talk about it and do sort of like a mini review. And the episode I'm going to talk about today is Curse of the Cobra and Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. Now, I didn't grow up on Power Rangers Lightspeed, I didn't watch it weekly, I didn't watch it until many years later, until it was on Netflix. My first exposure to the series was getting a game from Bali, and I was still like in the midst of Lost Galaxy when I got that game. So that was kind of my first exposure to Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. But overall, it's one of my favorite seasons that I've seen, and I think the characters are pretty strong in Lightspeed Rescue. But not only that, it also introduced the Titanium Ranger, which was the first American Ranger that didn't have a Sentai counterpart, and it was kind of a big deal at the time. So what's interesting with the Titanium Ranger, like I mentioned earlier, is that he didn't have a Sentai counterpart, and Saban didn't really want to film their own original footage and mesh it in with the Sentai footage. Back then, too much work, didn't want to do it. But what we got with the character was this interesting story arc they took him on with the Curse of the Cobra story arc, where they had Ryan out of the story or out of the original fight footage, so that way they can focus on the Sentai footage. And I feel like the Curse of the Cobra story arc is pretty freaking cool. Now, the Curse of the Cobra concept is really interesting. Every time Ryan Mitchell morphs, the tattoo on his back will keep getting longer and longer and eventually strangle him, or destroy, as they say in the show. So it's got some pretty high stakes with Mitchell Ryan not able to morph in the show. So they set up these stakes right away, but I feel like Ryan should have been a little bit sensible with learning about this revelation. Like, he could have told someone, like one of the teammates or even his dad, but he didn't really tell anyone, and he sort of carried that burden on his own until they found out later down the line. And that made him go on this journey to sort of confront the snake tattoo, which is basically the Snizzard outfit, just sort of in the form of a snake now with a snake hood. It is what it is. But I do like the journey that the character goes on in the show. But not only that, we also see the debut of the Solar Max Megazord, which is what was used by, I haven't seen Go-Go 5, so I'm sorry if I'm butchering stuff or getting stuff wrong. I don't know who used that in the show, but they basically gave that Zord to the Titanium Ranger, which is a pretty interesting thing to do with the character, like giving him his own Zord in the show. But like I mentioned earlier, after this whole story arc, you have the character sort of go on this big journey to discover himself, but that's basically him sort of being written out of the show so they can rely more on the Sentai footage, not film more Titanium footage Ranger with the others, so they can just film their own Titanium stuff and not do like the big group original fight scenes, which I will say is pretty smart. But the whole Curse of the Cobra story arc is pretty freaking cool. I do like the fight with Diablo when he faces off against the Rangers in the Zord and he wrecks shit with them, and then he ends up getting destroyed in the end. And not only that, you've also got the 3 monsters that he sends out after the Rangers that combine into one big monster. It's a pretty cool story arc if you watch it. Like, it's a really interesting 3-parter, and I wish we would get like more original Rangers in the show. I say that we got the freaking Zenith Ranger in Cosmic Fury, Cosmic Fury. But I do like the whole concept of the Titanium Ranger and the story arc he goes on, and I kind of wish they would bring him back in some kind of like reunion episode or tribute episode, but they're probably not going to do that. They brought the suit back in Super Mega Force, but it was like missing the visor, which is really dumb. But yeah, the Curse of the Cobra episodes, really enjoyable. I think they're definitely worth checking out. If you want me to do any other retro reviews for Power Ranger episodes, leave a comment down below. I've talked about Green with Evil, I've talked about Day of the Dumpster. If there's any other episodes you want me to talk about and discuss and sort of give my nostalgia thoughts on these episodes, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear them. So with that said, I think I'm going to bring this video to a close. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out, take care, bye.